So this week I got my 600th We Ran Out of Medals in Destiny 2's Crucible. That's a 20 plus kill streak without dying. If you're curious how many you have, you can go to crucible.report and type in your gamer tag, or you can go to your Make Shack's Proud emblem if you've got one, and go down to the Crucible tab and select Career to see your total. It'll track every We Ran you've gotten account-wide since Season 4. So, since Season 4, I've racked up 600 of these bad boys, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I did it. And this isn't going to be one of those generic tips videos, right, where I just say things that YouTubers have been saying for years, that, know when to disengage, or play to the strengths of your build, or rotate with the spawns, right? Those are all, they're all great tips, but they're also a bit obvious, and unless I show you practical application of those tips, then it's basically hollow advice. In this video, I'm going to break down very specific scenarios that you are likely to encounter, and how I made the best choice that I could in the moment to prolong my kill streak. So all the gameplay in this video is from 20 plus kill streaks. All the gameplay in this video is from a We Ran Out of Medals, right? And we're not playing passive. We're running and gunning. We're not baiting teammates or avoiding captures. You'll see lots of times in this gameplay where I'm contesting or capturing flags in control. Okay, so let's start with this first moment here. I'm going to put a couple of shots in two players here on Fortress just outside of B. Then as they move in towards the zone, they're pushing my teammates and the zone. I flank around to get in front of them. I want to cut them off, okay? But when I get into the B hallway, or passage as it's called, I notice two things. First, there are 3 teammates who just died in the kill feed. You can see the skulls on my HUD. That's very important information. Your HUD is actually communicating a lot of things to you in the moment. It's a lot of information. So if you know how to read the HUD and all the information there, it can paint a picture, it can tell a story, and it will inform your decision. So it tells me that whatever just went down, it was bad enough that half of my team was sent to respawn screens. Now that means that I'm probably alone for a while, okay? So the second thing I notice is the radar. It's lit up like a Christmas tree, okay? I can clearly see that there are at least 3, maybe 4 enemies in close proximity. I don't have a grenade cooldown. I don't have a super. I don't have heavy ammo. So the chances of me coming out of a narrow choke point and killing half of the enemy team, they're pretty freaking bad, okay? So I know for a fact that 2 of the guys on the enemy team are popping off, and they're real threats in one-on-one duels. I've been dueling them for this entire match so far, so they're pretty good in one-on-one duels, let alone if I catch them when they're in a group. So I choose to kite. Okay, if you don't know what kiting is, it means running away, but sort of drawing their attention in a certain direction, right? You're trying to drag them with you. You're kiting them. You're leading them like a kite. So I'm trying to find a way to safety. My goal is to get all the enemies in the match on the same side of me, right? That way you can turn and you can face them. No one's going to shoot you from the sides, shoot you from the back. So I don't want them fanned out, around and surrounding me. So I check my radar. I look for blue indicators to tell me where my teammates are at. It looks like that some of them have spawned near A, so I choose to go that way, and I hug the wall to avoid exposing myself too much. After getting a quick primary kill, I realize I'm still pretty surrounded and I'm being actively pushed. So I use the Antaeus wards to pull a 180 and aggressively push the 2 enemies in the middle lane. It's sort of like playing Red Rover. Safety's on the other side. You just have to find the weakest link and blast your way through it, is essentially what you have to do sometimes. And that whole series of choices kept me alive. It allowed me to secure the last kill I needed for that We Ran Out of Medals before going down. So that's a quick We Ran with the Eye as Luna and the shotgun as the 4th horseman. It's very underrated, but it is one of my favorite shotguns in the game just because of how brutal that thing is. It's a brawler of a shotgun. It's not ideal, right? It's not always the best, but it's just super fun, so I like to use it. Here's another We Ran with the Pulse and Sidearm on Hunter. Early in this streak, I narrowly avoided getting my head ripped off by a Lorentz driver because I took a moment to strafe into cover in between bursts. It's not something that I do during every single engagement, but I do tend to mix up my movements a lot, and this time I just happen to choose to minimize my risk by covering myself up between shots, and it happened to work out well for me. So I'm fairly conservative with my super here. I found sometimes I take unnecessary risks while I'm in my super and I end up feeding. So sometimes it's okay to just take 1 kill, maybe 2 kills with the super. It's okay. And I follow it up with a couple of kills with a pulse, and then I push the C flag with a teammate, And even though this is a fusion rifle, I choose to slide into the open and engage it because I can clearly see that my teammate has all of the aggro. Aggro is a term that means the aggressive attention of an enemy, right? They're actively engaging with somebody, and it's not me. I don't have their aggro. My teammate does. So I don't mind full sending on this push because the chances of this opponent switching targets on the fly for no reason are pretty low, and it pays off. Sometimes you just have to read the situation and calculate the risk. You know, nothing's a guarantee, but you're just kind of calculating where the risk is and if that risk is worth it in your opinion in that moment. So one of the biggest questions when doing that is asking where your enemy's focus is at, their aggro. It was clearly not on me, so I decided the risk was pretty low. It was a calculated choice, worked out. A little bit later in the streak, I make sure to clear an opponent off of heavy. I claim the purple goodness for myself, and then I push the B flag with it because I want zone control. But a Titan sprints in and drops his bubble. He tanks the rocket because he's in his animation there. So now I'm sort of like up the creek without a paddle, and I could easily go down staring at an overshielded Titan with a massive weapon damage buff, right? Weapons of light. Bubble Titans are really only consistently vulnerable if you can bait them out of their bubble. So, but my goal is just to get the heck out of there as quickly as possible. But I also don't want to show my back to him. I don't want to hesitate, give him time to recover his health from that rocket. He could see me turning my back as an opportunity to gun me down from behind. So instead, I backpedal, but I'm still staring him down, right? My gun is there. I'm ready to engage if he comes out of that bubble, but I'm watching you, I got my eye on you, and I'm backpedaling while still looking at him. I want to be able to defend myself if he chooses to come out of the bubble and engage me. And then the second I see him turn and check his 6 for an enemy, I'm out of there, baby. That's when I turn and I run. It's simple stuff like that that can extend a kill streak. Sometimes it's about discouraging your opponents from pushing when you are vulnerable, and that's what I did then. This next moment is a great one to call attention to as well. Notice we're losing the C flag, and I don't want to let that happen, so I choose to push it and try to clear it out. And at first I think it's just one opponent, and I start engaging, but then during that engagement I see and I hear 2 pulse rifle bursts from an enemy at my hard left flank behind that round box thing on C. So in the moment, I choose to continue engaging the first guy because I already started, but I want to cut off the other guy's line of sight. So I kind of back up and hug that wall and put that right on my left shoulder, that wall, so the guy on my flank, he can't see me, while I deal with the first enemy over to my right, and it works out perfectly. I'm able to secure that kill and then switch targets and safely take him out without taking any unnecessary damage from that second guy while I was fighting the first one. A couple moments later, I create an opportunity with a well-placed trip mine. It tags up 2 enemies for 160 damage apiece, and then I slide in to mop them up before they can regenerate their health or rally or make a quick call about how they can defend themselves. Just want to capitalize on the chaos there, get that double kill. But as soon as they go down, I start getting shot from behind. And this is bad. I'm pretty exposed here. I could easily go down. So I quickly consider what could break that person's line of sight on me. And it's the pillar to my left. So I dodge roll to the left, but then I run in a straight line for a few steps, keeping myself obstructed from their view. If I had kept running to the left, then they'd see me come out of the left side of the pillar from their perspective, from their point of view, back behind me in the hallway. But I keep that pillar between the two of us, and then I duck into the room on the right for safety and recover my health. So I hope you're finding these tips helpful and applicable, right? I know generic tips are hard to put into action sometimes, but these moments I'm breaking down for you are things that can and will happen to you regularly, right? I want to give you information that translates directly into your gameplay. It's not just what to do, it's also how to do it. So if you're finding these tips insightful, feel free to drop a like on the video as a way of saying, hey, I'm kind of digging this, TV. So I'll look over, I look over the video engagement statistics for everything that I post to help me figure out, what kind of content you all respond to the most. So it's helpful for me as I make future content. The next we ran is on Cauldron, which is it's a tricky map for long kill streaks because the spawns are constantly flip-flopping. It's a really difficult map to keep all the enemies in front of you on. Instead, your head has to be sort of on a swivel constantly, looking for new targets to approach from any angle. There's lots of doors, lots of approaches, and you don't want to play defensive in a corner either because then you'll have no way out. You know, enemies will eventually push you from both of the angles in a corner, and you'll be left with no escape plan, and you'll go down. So you have to sort of read the radar and be really fluid on this map to keep a streak alive. A lot of times it's about, you know, like working your way around about a quarter of the map on the outside and then cutting in, getting a couple of kills in the central room, and then finding an appropriate exit, because you got a lot of exits out there. You got 5 exit points out of that room. So you find an appropriate exit that keeps the radar pings all sort of in one direction of you, and then you just kind of repeat that cycle. So you're cutting in and back out and around and in, back out and around and over again. That's sort of my flow on this map. There's a particular moment where enemies peek at the same time from opposite ends of the A flag pillar, and I don't even mess around with that. As soon as my brain registers 2 targets, I'm out of there and quickly finding a head glitch to leverage for cover while I return fire. After that, I see the enemy is capping the B flag. I know this map really well. I know that there are these short little half walls around the B flag that are great for trip mines, and I start throwing that thing before the door is even fully open. And sure enough, it blasts the guy, and I'm able to clean him up really easily with just 1 shot from the pulse. Another quick tip, make sure you use your grenades to finish off enemies that you tag up that break for cover. A lot of players, they don't leave that spot altogether like they should when their shields are depleted. They just duck into cover, and they didn't really move too far away from the spot where you started shooting them. They're just obstructed from your view, and they're trying to just get their health back in that safe little spot. Grenades are great for cleaning people up who don't run away after their shields are popped. They just duck in. And that's the Cauldron we ran. Hope you enjoyed that. And for the last we ran of the video, here's a quick one from Endless Veil. I hope you liked this video and found it informative. Thanks for choosing to support my channel. Feel free to subscribe for additional Destiny 2 content. I live stream every weekday, usually from 9 a.m. Eastern Time to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'd love to see you stop by and say hello sometime. Also, I'm giving away my last Brightwing emblem live on stream today. It's Wednesday on the RGH show. So it's that blue, like, I don't know, like that tealish blue and black and white emblem that you've seen creators giving around. Bungie hooked a bunch of us up with these things to give out to our community members. So if you don't know what RGH is, it's a live gaming show that I do every week with MTashed and Cactus HD, where we break down all the hot gaming news of the week and even the drama too. And we do it every Wednesday night on YouTube at our channel Real Gamer Hour at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So come by, see what the show's about, see if you can get your hands on that tasty Brightwing emblem. We'd love to see you there. Thanks again for tuning in today. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and I hope to catch you in the Crucible.